All right, I am Lynette Rayle from Cornell University. I'm a Ruby developer and have been a core contributor in Samvera for the past 6 years. I have worked heavily on questioning authority and hierarchs. So in the last few months, it became clear COVID was not going away anytime soon. And I was pretty frustrated by the visualizations that were available for my local area. So I decided to write an app myself, and I use questioning authority as part of the technology stack. So it was really important to me to use data that was well accepted. So I'm using the Johns Hopkins data, and I connect to that using the COVID API, and that is where questioning authority comes in. So COVID API can actually return data in different formats depending on like what level of data you're requesting, whether it's countries or states or counties. And so questioning authority does a normalization on the data coming in from COVID API so that it's consistent all the time, and made it really easy to create some models to go with it. So I'm using GruphGraph as the graphing library to generate the graphs. And I'm using Jekyll documentation theme as the UI because it's compatible with GitHub pages. So in the app, I create several different types of graphs, and this is showing a graph that is all data from the beginning of time that they were collecting data. And each bar represents a single day. This particular one is kind of messy. I either can have the data points on or the data points off. And since it's really meaningful to know what the maximum value is, I left the data points on, even though a lot of them are overlapping. So the next graph that I created was graphs for the past 7 days. And in this case, each bar again represents just a single day. But this gives me like a short-term glance into what's going on. But it can be kind of hard to see trends in only 7 days because that's a short time period. So I also added a graph that does 30 days. And with the longer term, it gets a little easier to see how cases are changing over time. But even that can be hard to see trends because from day to day, the values can change a lot. So I created one that does every 7 days. So each bar now represents a 7-day period, and 4 bars represent about a month. And so you can see this sort of smooths out those daily jumps and gives you a clear vision that things have been rising in the past month. So together, these graphs give a picture of how the confirmed cases are changing. So I'm going to do a quick demo, and I'm going to do it through slides because I have such a short time. So the tracker can be configured to show data for any number of areas around the country and even around the world. And this allows you to track the data in areas of interest to you, places where you travel or where you have friends or family. So I'm tracking 7 different central areas. And within each area, you can also track regions. So to move on, you actually click one of the areas, and we're going to go look at Cortland, New York, which is where I live. So clicking in this area takes you to the home page for the area. And on the left, you see a quick menu that will be on every page. And in the middle, you see blocks that describe all the various graphs, and also has a quick link to view the graphs in all the regions that are configured for that particular area. So I'm going to click the weekly totals. That'll take us to the weekly total graphs. And so here you see a list of all the regions at the top, and then below that, you'll see the various weekly graphs for those regions. So you can jump to a particular region by clicking a link at the top, or you can just scroll down. So as you scroll down, you'll see the ones for the different areas. And you can just continue scrolling down and see all the areas. So one of the comments I would make about the various areas is that I pick a central location like Cortland County, and that gives me my local data. But then the counties that surround Cortland also can impact what happens in my county, because people move between counties for various reasons. And so if something starts to rise in a county near us, that also can provide meaningful data about what might be coming in our area. So to see another view, we can click on the sidebar. And in this case, I'll look at the region, the by region, which will show all graphs for a particular region. So we'll look at Cortland. And the first graph that we see, again, is the weekly totals. But as I scroll down, I'll see some of the other graphs that I showed previously. So this shows the weekly totals and the 30 days together. I find that these two graphs give the most meaningful representation for seeing what kind of trends are happening in the data. But then we can see the 7-day graph. And with this one, you also see change in the counts of deaths for that particular time period. Fortunately for us, we have not had any deaths. So that's not a particularly meaningful graph for us, but in an area where deaths are occurring, to see how that changes over time can really give you an understanding of the severity of COVID in that area. So at any time, you can jump back to the main page by clicking the link above the bar, or if you want to click back to the one that does all the areas, you do the one in the header. So this is just a quick, I'm not going to go into detail because I'm running out of time. So this is what the configuration looks like. You can grab this and configure it for your areas. I include steps for how you can actually grab this app and use it yourself. Because it's configuration based, it's really easy to set up. There are also instructions, these same instructions in the README. And I include links to where you can go to see what the technologies that everything's based off of and the data. So thank you very much. I hope you find it helpful, and I hope everyone stays well and safe.
Thank you, Lynette.